Welcome to the SPS Digital Learning Hour, brought to you by the Digital Learning and Assessment Department. We're coming to you from a conference room in Central Office, bringing you the latest news in Springfield Public Schools in regards to technology, along with inspiring interviews from teachers who are using technology in the classroom. We'll also inform you the latest updates, practices, news as it pertains to our district. Whether you are new to using technology or are a seasoned vet, we are here to help. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Mike Thomas, the Bearded Tech Ed Guy. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Bearded Tech Ed or Bearded Tech Ed Guy. In case you missed it, the latest blog post is out, and of course, every year I feel the drastic need to support this tool and bring it to your attention, which is Skype in the classroom. If you ever had the dream of being able to talk to an author of a book that you are reading, or go on a field trip, or visit animal rescues in the UK, or talk with a sea turtle expert, or even go visit the coral reefs or the Yellowstone National Park or the Great Barrier Reefs, Skype in the classroom can allow you to do that. One of the great things about being an Office 365 school district is that we have Skype in the classroom available to us, and with that, it is a free tool that allows us to take virtual field trips, have lessons done through Skype, do Skype collaborations, mystery Skypes, and guest speaker Skypes. As you know, it's very hard for us to go out and into the world or bring the world into our classroom. Skype is the tool that allows us to do that. I highly encourage you to go check it out. If you go out to education.microsoft.com, they have a plethora of tools that will help you to do Skype in the classroom. Coming up next is our interview of the week. This week, I sat down with Melissa Zeitz of Liberty Elementary School. You may recognize that name because we've talked a couple of times now on this podcast. She's doing a lot of amazing things in the classroom and a lot of great collaboration with teachers. So go ahead, listen, and be inspired.
I'm at Liberty Elementary School. I'm the instructional technology teacher here.
So how long have you been teaching?
Since 2001.
And have you always taught technology?
No. For over 10 years, I was a special ed teacher. And then the last 5 years or so, I've been the instructional technology teacher.
All right. So in our last podcast, we got into your history and so some of the reasons why you're doing what you're doing now. But let's focus on the past couple of years. What are some of the exciting things that you've done in the classroom?
So one of my passions, I would say, in the last few years is computer science and integrating it into my curriculum. Especially now that we are one-to-one, I feel that some of those tech skills that you used to teach, you don't have to teach as much because they're getting it in their classroom because they're using their computers every day in the classroom. You know, at one point when I first did this 5-6 years ago, I can't remember exactly when I started as a tech teacher, you were teaching kids how to click. You were teaching them how to make things bold, how to underline words. And I find a lot of those skills the students have, they know how to search on the internet. Whether they know how to search, concisely, okay, maybe that's another story. But they already have a basic understanding. So I found that computer science added a whole level to my curriculum. And so I think in the past few years, I've done a lot of different projects that have had a computer science focus connecting with the curriculum.
In regards to the computer science in your curriculum, because right now in our state, kind of the standards and the curriculum are very fluid because they've changed a lot over the last few years, definitely. What is something that has stuck out to you as like, this was an excellent idea? This was an excellent curriculum decision and lesson, and the students really grabbed a hold of it.
You know, it's funny. I think that I'm constantly reworking my curriculum to make it stronger and better. So thinking about one lesson is tough. I can tell you about a lesson that's currently going on that even though I still can already think about ways I need to improve it, I think it's successful. It's working. It's called a MAP project, multi-animator project. And so the fourth graders each got a verse or about 20 to 30 second or so clip of the fight song. And they are creating an animation based on their version of what that verse means to them. And then at the end of the entire project, I'll take all of the different pieces and I'll put it together and it will be a music video. And we'll have a music release party so that they're understanding how was any video created? You know, what are the steps? Creating the storyboard before you actually do it, collaborating with a partner, and then thinking creatively. And next you get into like the problem solving of, well, how do you program this? Why is this working when, you know, so you see so many facets of learning happen.
So with this project, with this fight song project, are you using Scratch? Are you using Make Code? I mean, they're similar, I guess, enough, but is there a particular way that you're having them code? Because I think many of us understand the idea behind a storyboard. It's essentially more of a visual outline per se. So how are you getting it from paper to computer? Or are they physically doing it in front of like a green screen, for example?
So the process had a lot of different steps. First, they truly saw different versions of videos of the song. And then once they understood that, there's a great little video from Toy Story on how they created a scene from the movie and show that's basically done on index cards. So they're given index cards and they will physically draw out what they see should happen in the scenes to give them kind of a starting point. And then we go on Scratch. And I really like Scratch out of everything that's out there. I went to the Scratch conference and I don't remember the exact quote. Mitchell Resnick, who's one of the creators of Scratch, talks about how like the ceilings are high, you know, the walls are wide and the floor is low. Like the idea that Scratch is accessible to everyone, no matter if you're ELL, SPED, love coding, don't love coding. It's just, it has many levels to it. And so we've been using Scratch for them to do this project. It's an actual project that has been done on Scratch. And I got the idea from the Scratch conference that I went to. That's
awesome. So you went to a whole conference on Scratch. For those of us who might not know, did you get a chance to see 3.0 at that time, which is the latest release?
Yes, we were fortunate enough to get some of the first viewings of Scratch 3.0, and some of the new features are absolutely amazing. There are features now that will, if you have a child who doesn't like to talk, they can type it in so it will talk to them. There's text where it will swap it in different languages. There's a new feature where if you say hello, you can program it to say hello back to you. So it's starting to recognize words. And I mean, they've definitely enhanced a lot of the features for it.
Teachers out there listening to us, irregardless of what grade they teach, where would a good starting point for learning how to use Scratch in the classroom be for them?
So I have used it as low as kindergarten just for fun. I know there are other stuff out there that might be more appropriate for the younger grades. And I've done FOOs with my first graders. I think it depends. The first real project I do with the students is in second grade, where they're just recording their voice on Scratch. But we use something called a makey so that there's an extension piece where they do a poster. And a makey acts as an input device. So when you touch their poster, the computers will talk. And so the students do this project where they record themselves talking about digital safety into the computer. And then when they touch their poster, it works and you can hear their voice. And that's the first big project they do. They'll do smaller projects around like fractured fairy tales and different things using it. Scratch is great for creativity. And then for the understanding the concepts, I lean more towards code.org. So to make sure they understand what are variables and what are conditionals and different concepts, I'll kind of use code.org to guide that. So even in second grade, I'm teaching the students about loops using the code.org material so that they can do their project.
Wow. I mean, if I were a K-2 teacher, I would definitely be intimidated by, in some ways, it sounds like your students really got a chance to explore and
like create their own learning. For me as a teacher, I always want that control. So how do you fight the urge to just kind of take control when you see students are doing or struggling or they're not getting to where you want them to go?
So I'm going to go up to the 3rd through 5th grade for that question. Really, I have requirements for them, but then I want to allow freedom of creativity. I mean, the reality is the job market, we don't know what it's out there, and I want my students to become creators, not consumers. And I think that's really, really important. So I need to foster that. I need to guide them into becoming creators and thinking outside the box by not giving them too many strict guidelines. A lot of my guidelines, so my students in 5th grade are doing an animation of a food chain where they give a virus to an animal and they have to animate what would happen. That's all I'm giving them. They know their food chain. Mm-hmm. The one rule in the programming is that they have to use a condition block. Otherwise, they can show me however works for them. Mm-hmm. With the map project that I'm doing with the fight song, they had to use a broadcast block. They had to show me what the fight song looks like to them. How they go about it is their own vision. And I think it's really important where we're so crunched for testing that we allow children to think outside the box and be creative and collaborate with someone when they're doing it. K through 2, my projects do allow for creativity, but they're definitely modified for that level.
Mm-hmm. In all the things that we've been talking about, what are some things that you're looking forward to trying? We're now into February, so half the year's gone, half the year left, and then summer to learn. So what are some things that you're looking forward to trying?
I mean, right now, these 2 big projects have been, the big things on my mind. I know that one of your favorite projects that we do is the Switch Animal Zoo, which we are tweaking and trying to figure out if we can add a computer science spin to it. The Switch Animal project is a project that we do in 3rd grade, and it's where the students create their own animal. So they get to choose the head of one animal and the body of another and the legs of another. So it really is this completely new created animal. And then they create their own encyclopedia page of the animal, giving facts based off of the features of the animal. So they know that if it's a head of a fish and it's in the water, it's breathing out of gills, and different things like that. So they kind of have to be accurate, even though it's a fictional encyclopedia page. And then working with a classroom teacher, they will make a fake news article. So then we start talking about, well, what is fake news? And then they get to create a fake newspaper. Mm-hmm. And so together they'll have the encyclopedia page and they'll have the fake news article. For homework, they actually create the animal. And we've had some really, really interesting creations of animals. It's really impressive to see what the kids bring in. We'd like to add a computer science piece to it, whether it's Scratch or even just using something like the Makey as a way to connect and activate the encyclopedia, but that's still in the works.
Yeah. So when was the point that you realized that this project was one that you're going to keep doing, like irregardless of, making tweaks to it?
I think when we saw how much it was hitting different standards, and then every year it just developed more where the classroom teacher was like, oh wait, I want to add a fake news article, and like, oh, now let's collaborate, and it just kind of started taking a life of its own. So yeah, I mean, I just think it was when I was collaborating with another teacher and we realized this is just going to be successful and we need to keep doing it. And I know we have a new 3rd grade teacher in our building, and we're like, guess what we're going to be doing? We're already telling her as soon as, testing's over, the fake news article will begin. So I really think it's that. I think it's just the collaboration. When you find a good project, you just keep tweaking it, but you stay with it. And I look at it even with the food chain project when I was told it used to just be a food chain, just create an animation of a food chain. And I was told, how can I make that more complex? Mm-hmm. So now it's give a virus to one of the organisms in the food chain. So, you constantly are evolving it, but when it's a good and it hits the standards lesson.
So let's shift focus for this last little bit of time. From what I know, that you are playing a role in Western Mass and in general, and I know that you do a lot of trainings, and I know that you're also part of CSTA and the Western Mass chapter of that. Can you tell us more about that? So, because many of our listeners might not have a single clue about any of the words that just came out of my mouth.
I guess I play a couple roles in the community. I'm a code.org facilitator, so I do the code.org trainings for anybody who's wants to learn more about the elementary program. But I'm also with Scott Wallers, a co-president of the Computer Science Teachers Association, with a few other members actually are on it too. And Computer Science Teachers Association, it's an organization that works with teachers, offers tons of free professional development, offers a community to people who want to just learn more about computer science. It is not someone who has to have computer science as their title. It doesn't have to be, it can be a kindergarten teacher, it can be a high school teacher that teaches reading. It's about bringing a community of teachers together to learn about computer science. So we've offered workshops like Minecraft coding. We're offering one on the DLCS license coming up soon. We've offered Scratch workshops, tons and tons of Scratch meetups. Technology petting zoos where you can come and try the latest technology. So there's tons of different types of PD that we're doing to just get people exposed to computer science. And I know next year we're working on trying to offer even more. So that's the role, and that's kind of floated into the CS grant that's happening here.
So I know our day is getting long, and so I just want to, again, thank you for this time that you've spent with me to just talk in front of a microphone instead of how we normally talk, which is through Skype. So
I do like my little Skype chats with you. Help!
So thank you.
Thank you.
For me, one of the great things about going out and talking to teachers like Melissa is I feel like I learn a lot while I'm there and just talking and just seeing the things that she's doing in the classroom. They are amazing. And the ways that she's able to collaborate with other teachers in her building is just so exciting. That's how we really push the CS standards, is really through collaboration and seeing how those CS standards fit into the regular classroom. I really encourage you to go check it out. I've included in the show notes links to things that she talked about and links to other tools that are similar to what she was talking about in the classroom. I just want to remind you that we are available on any podcasting platform. What I really would love for you guys to do is to go out to iTunes and give us a review there, or go out to Stitcher and put a review on there so that we can move up the charts. That's how these things work, and we are so excited that you have been listening to us faithfully for the last couple of years, and we just want to be able to show that growth out in the world. And so if you could do that and share what Springfield is doing with the whole world, it would help if you left us reviews, because reviews move us up the boards, and up the boards more people can find us and hear about all the amazing things that as Springfield teachers you are doing. If you know of a teacher who should be interviewed for the podcast, please send them my way. Please send their information my way so I can formally lather them up with heaps and heaps of praise so that they will meet my request and meet yours, because you are seeing awesome things happen in the classroom. There's a lot of great things happening in this district, and we definitely want to share them with everybody. One of the cool things is if you follow me out on Instagram, every Friday I post a quote of the week using an awesome tool called Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark, we talked about it in previous podcasts, and we've even done blog posts on it about how awesome of a tool that it is. I like to use it to help encourage Fridays, to get us some encouragement to go into the weekend and into the following week. Maybe that day will change in the future, but Favorite Quote Friday does have a nice ring to it. I want to encourage you to follow me out on Instagram, Twitter, or even Facebook, where those are always posted. So to wrap up today, I am your host, Mike Thomas, the Bearded Tech Ed Guy, and this is the SPS Digital Learning Hour.